Vice President Education. So, I don't know who we've got. Education and Welfare, yes, excellent. So, there are 3 people running in this. Again, somebody couldn't come. So, Terence Noble couldn't come, and unfortunately we don't have a speech or a statement from him, but we do have Jenny and Josh. So, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as Meatloaf would say. So, again, we're going to give them an opportunity to talk for 1 minute a little bit about themselves and why they'd be a good candidate. And this position it heads all our campaign work and looks after all our welfare work, and also driving excellence in and improvements in the academic experience. So it's a role that really should be important to every student, no matter how they study part-time, distance learning, full-time, Uxbridge, whether you're on placements or whatever. It's a role that you should be able to feed into, and hopefully they'll drive the quality in the area that you study in. So if I'm going to ask Josh this time to talk first, is that okay?
Hello, I'm Josh. I'm a third year student of Advertising and Digital Communications. I'm currently a student trustee of the union. I've worked over here before as a head helper, doing the NSS as well, so you might see me around and doing the Freshers Fair, some project leading as well. I'm really passionate about the university and the union, and I think working together we could provide so much more for the students with both campuses, and I think with all the partner colleges, so I feel like working together we could really do a lot more for all the students here at Bucks.
Thanks, Josh.
Hey, so I'm Jenny. Hopefully a few of you will have seen me around a little bit. I studied performing arts at the High Wycombe campus and graduated in September. And since then, I've been in the role as Vice President Education and Welfare, and so that's been about 8 months, and it was such a reality check to actually come into the role and spend time over here and see the sort of things that you guys have to put up with. Because as a student studying mainly at the other campus, I had no idea what it was like over here. I had no idea that you couldn't sit down and eat your lunch, or that there was nowhere to park, or how intense a lot of the courses are. So I've got a lot of experience in some of the things that you are struggling with, and I've actually had a chance, luckily, to sit down and hear from a lot of you on things that you'd like improving. So if re-elected, I'd like to carry on some of the work that I've already started.
That's great, thanks very much. We could start with a question. No, we're not going to tell you. Okay. Okay, this is a question that's been written down for me. It looks like a ransom note. A lot of Uxbridge students, yeah, it's the same gag every year. A lot of Uxbridge students feel there is a lack of support with essays and exams and aren't really too sure what to do or where to go, especially when on placement. How would you build that relationship? Jenny, do you want to take that?
So we do have Learning Development Unit. Has anyone in here actually been to see them at all? I'm seeing a few nods, yeah? But the problem with that is they get really, really busy, because a lot of students obviously have assignments around the same time, so they all try and go there together, and there's only a few people working there. They can't see everyone. So I'd like to introduce some workshops, so group workshops, in the evenings, so maybe you can come in if you're on placement, maybe times that are convenient for you, and also a lot of online support on Blackboard, so maybe some video tutorials and helpful tips like that can be accessed from a computer, so you wouldn't have to come on campus.
Okay, so over the last few weeks I've actually spoke to some nursing students over here, and they said one of the problems is that the lack of communication between their lecturers and yourselves while you're on placements and while you're out of campus, and I think that's a big issue that we need to face. So while you are on placements, there needs to be clear communication, even meetings with your lecturers, to ensure that there is strong communication, because obviously you're not within campus but you are still valued as a student, and obviously you are doing your own independent learning. So the main thing I'd like to focus on is making sure there's strict communication between your lecturer or between yourself, so that ensure that you can get the best outcome out of your learning.
That's great, thank you. So here's another question from a student rep. What are your thoughts on the changes in the NHS bursary, and how will you campaign for nurses in the uni now and in the future? Jenny?
Okay, so with the changes with the bursary, it won't actually affect any of you sitting in here right now, but it will affect the September 2017 cohort. And obviously, bursaries cover a lot of costs because, especially when you're on placement, you won't necessarily have time to get a job where you can be earning a sufficient amount of money to pay rent and transport costs as well for to and from placement. So I think that there's going to be a lot of unhappy students because even things like your uniforms, your DBS checks, they'll have to find money from somewhere else to pay for that. So campaigning would definitely be to try and find some source of money. It's going to be difficult, but there must be some pot of money somewhere that can help students. So we've got the big deal on course at the moment, which covers quite a lot of course costs and books and printing credits. I don't know if any of you have used that yet. So maybe it could be campaigning to keep that going, get that to cover discounted transport, things like that, and just communicating. Okay, that's me.
Okay, so there are going to be a lot of changes, but I think as a union and as a student collective, I think everyone working together to try and campaign, that obviously that is the needs of the students, but there are obviously other things that the university can offer, like hardship fund, and there are some other bursaries out there so that they can offer you, obviously, but there are going to be those changes, and some of these changes could be out of the student body's hand. But at the end of the day, working together as a union and as a collective, as a student force, that we can come together and try and maybe help some changes. But like Jenny said, there could be a pot of money somewhere. Obviously, we can't guarantee that, but working together as a collective and obviously listening to the student body, that is going to be the main thing for external people.
Thanks very much. The university still leads at the bottom of the league tables. How would you help change this? Josh, do you want to go first this time?
Okay, so I mentioned before, obviously a lot of people look at the league table as a big thing, but at the end of the day, especially over here at Uxbridge, it's seen very as a reputable course over here, like as with the nursing, and it's thought highly on, especially by the other nursing students I spoke to. So it's hard to look at those league tables because we are a small university with a small student intake compared to the other universities out there with such a large students there. So it is hard to compete against those league tables, but like I said, sticking to what we know and staying to this as a small university and stick to what we're good at, and then obviously we can work better as a university.
Thank you.
Yeah, so basically just going on a bit from what Josh was saying, league table, we are a small institution, so it is difficult for us to compete with some of the bigger places out there, and especially because a lot of the league tables measure specific things. Like, for example, nursing has only just been accepted as to be classed as a graduate job in some of the league tables. So before that, all the nurses that graduated from Bucks weren't counted as having a graduate job. So I don't think we should look that into the league tables, but obviously people do use them when looking at where to apply. But I think Bucks has a good reputation for nursing. Bucks nurses have a good reputation in the local trusts. We have a lot of alumni come back in and say about how they're greeted well in the industry. So I think league tables aren't necessarily that impactful on the courses that we offer on this campus.
Thanks very much. So if you could pick one thing from your manifesto, which is currently available on bucksstudentsunion.org/elections, and also will be printed in the Students' Union newspaper out this Monday. So if, without going into the whole manifesto, which people can go and look at in their own time, you pick one thing, one point that would, if you could absolutely guarantee you'd achieve it, what would you choose? Who wants to go first? We'll fight over it.
Okay, so one of the points I would like to really work on is utilising the alumni network. So sort of like old Bucks help new Bucks. I think there's so many people out there from graduate jobs who've got such good placement or careers out there. So I think coming back, trying to utilise that to increase employability and placement and mentoring schemes, I think that could really help current students at Bucks, because at the end of the day it is all about increasing employability, especially for all students here. And I think just getting some experience within your chosen career or industry, I think that would work really well, and to increase employability for yourselves.
Thank you.
I just want to go back on to, so it was mentioned earlier about the car parking. One of my manifesto points is around car parking at both campuses. And like it was said earlier, we can't make any promises, and we can't say we're going to give you free parking or we're going to let you park here all the time. But there are ways around it. There are ways to find other parking opportunities in the area. I had a meeting with the Dean of the Faculty last week, and she was saying there's a company that sort of sorts out where people living in the area, if they work away, they rent out their driveways for students to park, but at a cheaper price. So this is a lot cheaper than the local car parks. So if we could maybe get the university to make a partnership with companies like that, we could offer cheap car parking spaces for students.
Thank you. I rent out my drive. It's parkonmydrive.com. I'll be able to find it. I'm not trying to sell you my drive. I live somewhere else. You won't want to park there for his. It's not important now. Wish I hadn't mentioned it in many ways. So if we've got a question from anybody here. Anything but not my drive? No? Okay. That's quite expensive. Okay, so thanks very much, Josh and Jenny.